this is going to be a special segment. Um, I am going to be going out of town for the 4th of July holiday, and I'm wishing you all a very happy 4th in celebration of this wonderful country we live in. Um, so this particular segment, I haven't settled on a name for it yet, but I'm really kind of thinking for this one, calling it Real Glimpse. So like a real glimpse of what's to come, and real spelled REEL. So that's what I'm kind of tossing around. I don't hate it, but um, in this particular segment, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to some movies that are up and coming, especially some movies that may be flying under the radar. I think some of these are going to be no surprise to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over five, my top five movies that I'm looking forward to. I'll give an honorable mention prior to starting that top five list. But I think some of these movies that are getting ready to come out are going to be absolutely no surprise to you. You're probably already trying to take a guess at what my list is. I think some of them probably will be a surprise, and I'm hoping they are. In the sense that I do believe they've flown under the radar and they deserve to be recognized. So without further ado, let's dive into this. Just some movies for honorable mention that are coming out that I will definitely see for sure. Starting with July 3rd, which is getting very, very close. Despicable Me 4 is going to be coming out. I think that'll be a very funny movie. It looks like it's been done really well. And so I'm very intrigued. Despicable Me has kind of escaped me. I believe me, I know it has a massive following, and I've never dove into it, to be honest with you. I've just never kind of been drawn to it. But from what I have seen of it, it's absolutely hysterical. So this one does look like it's going to be good. So and my wife's a big fan, so I'm sure I will see it. So that's on the list under honorable mention. Then another big one coming out July 5th is going to be Maxine. That gets honorable mention. I believe this may be an A24 film. Don't hold me to that, but I'm almost certain that it is. If we've learned anything in recent months, years about A24, they've got a tremendous track record. And I know that there's almost like a cult-like following of A24. It's kind of, people seem to recognize the studio. And a lot of times, people obviously recognize bigger names, Paramount, Universal, Warner Brothers. But A24 is one of those lower, I'm not going to say lower tier in terms of quality, but it's one of those that's under the radar. And for whatever reason, people know that name. And I think it could be due to potentially, all the way down to logo choice and the way they market themselves. But A24, let me tell you this right now, A24 is a very special studio that is putting out quality work, and not necessarily quantity. Although they've had quite a few already this year. So it's not going to surprise me if these are, if Maxine is a big time film, especially if A24 is the one that's attached to that. And I do believe that they are. So that one gets honorable mention. I watched the trailer for one. This gets honorable mention as well. It comes out July 5th. It's called Boneyard, and I guess supposedly it's a true story, a crime story about a serial killer, and I believe a serial killer that got away. I haven't dove too deep into the storyline yet on that, but crime films can be very intriguing. So I'm going to keep my eye on that movie. Those get honorable mentions from me, but let's go ahead. Let's dive in. Let's dive in to number 5 on this list. Number 5, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't know that much about this movie, period. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even know if it's going to release in theaters near us. I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be one of those that releases at places potentially like the Belcourt, although I have not seen any signs yet on the Belcourt schedule of it playing there. I could see it. I could see it playing there, and that's because this is a foreign film. It's a Korean film, and it's about a North Korean, I believe, soldier. Again, forgive me because I don't know a ton about this movie, but the trailer does look interesting. By the way, the top 5 that I'm going to name, you're going to get to see their trailers, because I think it's important to see trailers, just so you can kind of get a little bit of a grasp of, is this for me? At number 5, it is Escape, and I believe the storyline is a North Korean soldier, I believe, that defects and is fleeing to the south, and the struggle that he's going through. I have a sneaky suspicion that this movie is really going to shine a light on authoritarianism and the horrors of authoritarianism, and that intrigues me, and that makes me feel that this could be a very important statement about democracy and freedom and the things that we enjoy and really kind of take for granted, I think, a lot of the time, and the dangers of authoritarianism, and what it does. I think that this is going to be a film I'm going to keep a very close eye on. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get to see this in theaters. I just don't. I don't know if they're going to show it. I've looked ahead on AMC's schedule. I don't really. I didn't see it, so I have no idea. But I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on it. Again, it is in Korean. That, different languages don't stop me. So I think that this it looks like a great movie. I'm going to show you the trailer. I hope you enjoy it, and see if you see what I saw in it. So without further ado, here is Escape.
기남아, 너 탈주할 박력 있는 종자는 아니잖아. 주어진 운명을 받아들일 줄 안다 이 말이지. 아 새끼, 내가 그래서 네 입부하는 거야.
남한으로 가실 거디요? 배트기 굶떠부터 정신이 나가서?
지금은 갈 판이 아니다.
두 눈으로 똑똑히 봤습니다.
나도 데려가 주십시오.
민경대대 동무들! 탈주범이 둘씩이나 발생하였다!
남쪽이라고 단지상 나갈 것 같아. 세상에 그런 낙은 없어.
실패는 할 수 있지 않겠습니까? 해보고 싶은 걸 하다 실패하고 죽어도 내가 죽고 산다. 멋지지 않습니까?
나라고 하고 싶은 것이 없었겠어? 아무도 여기선 살아서 빠져나갈 수가 없어.
내 앞길 내가 정했습니다.
So that one looks pretty strong. I think it has the potential to be pretty good. So I am intrigued by it. I am intrigued by it. Looks like some really good shots in there, and acting looks solid. So I'm keeping my eyes on that one. Again, that is Escape. Should have mentioned this at the very beginning, but something to keep in mind is that I'm showing you these trailers again because I think you need to see them to fully grasp potentially things that I'm talking about around them, and to just see if you like them. And I don't really have control over what's in said trailer. So some of these movies are PG-13, some of them are R. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to show you what the artist intends to show you in the trailer, and I respect that. Just keep that in mind. That moves us on to number 4, though. And number 4 is coming out from Apple Studios. And let me just say this about Apple. They're another one that hasn't really been missing. They're kind of throwing bullseyes lately. So I would expect that this is probably going to be pretty good. If I had, well, we won't get into my projection till after you've seen the trailer. But I've seen the trailer for this a few times. You've probably seen the trailer for this, but if you haven't, I am thrilled to be the person that's presenting it to you. It's directed by Greg Berlanti. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Writers are Keenan Flynn, Rose Gilroy, and Bill Kirstein. It stars Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, and Woody Harrelson, which by now you've probably figured this out if you've seen said trailer. The type of movie that this is a romantic comedy, or romance/comedy. But a very intriguing premise on this story. It is about the moon landing and the government hiring marketers to fake a moon landing and film it due to the heightened level of competition on the world stage at the time, just as a precaution in case things did not go as planned. This is none other than Fly Me to the Moon. It comes out July 12th. It is rated PG-13, and again, it is coming out of Apple Studios. Without further ado, here's the trailer to Fly Me to the Moon.
Hey, Joe. Eating cold? Miss, you're on fire.
Very original. No, I do not want to stop, drop, and roll with you.
No, your book is on fire.
Oh my God.
Alcohol and flames, they like each other. Cold days.
Kelly Jones.
Public support for the moon mission is rock bottom.
Every day, something is breaking. And we're dead. Again. Yeah, or blowing up.
The space program is a bloated mess.
NASA needs a marketing specialist, and you are the very best.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon.
NASA's not something that you sell with a jingle and a slogan.
When I'm done, those men are going to be bigger than the Beatles.
Who is that?
For me, this is very personal.
He's got my name.
You told me that your guys don't do interviews, so I had to hire new guys.
I'm here for the casting. Who's he?
You're a juicy part.
60 missions in Korea.
I flew 52 missions in Korea.
I flew 52 missions in Korea. How's that?
What?
The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot the backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it? No one can ever know what we're doing.
I cannot accept that.
They will shoot you.
What is my budget?
Oh, boy.
I know a lot more about the moon than I know about you. Give me go, no go for launch.
If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
You know you couldn't have made it to this day without me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And
My Armstrong is a whiny little bitch. We have to recast.
I think we should have gotten Kubrick.
Looks fantastic. I think it's going to be really good. You know, and I think that it appears that Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson are going to play really well off of one another in that movie. And Woody Harrelson, the dude's a genius. He's hilarious. So I think that I think it's going to be a good movie. You know, I would say my projection or my projected score out of that 1 to 10 scale, just a quick glimpse, would probably be a 9, an 8 or a 9, somewhere in that range. I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll see. We'll see what it is. But that is Fly Me to the Moon. Again, that comes out July 12th. I'm super excited about it. That is my number 4 pick that I'm keeping my eyes on and looking forward to. Just so you know, there really isn't a huge date range on these. So, you know, I try to keep it to a month range, you know, looking ahead a month. So that could change. Again, you know, I'm editing these as I go. You know, all these different segments. Right now we've got Cineversaries, honoring movie anniversaries. We've got First Watch, which is just the first watch of a movie in theaters. And now we have Real Glimpse, which is taking a look ahead at movies that are going to be coming out that I'm the most excited, the ones that I am saying are my most anticipated films. So, bunch of different segments. So I'm sure that this will adapt even more as I continue to do these as well. But with that being said, we move on to number 3. And this is probably, number 3 is probably why I gave the disclaimer I did a minute ago after Escape. Because like I said, I don't have control over what the creators put in their trailers, nor do I really want to. I don't want to censor someone's creativity, and I'm never going to do that. So number 3 might be to most people their most anticipated movie for July. It is my 3rd most anticipated, which does not make it any less in my book. If you're in the top 5, you're doing something right. And I think that this is going to be a really funny, a really good film. I think that it's going to have tremendous implications for the universe in which it is in. You probably have already, before I even said that, picked up on what I'm talking about. If you follow pop culture and film enough, the director for this is Sean Levy. Sean Levy is known for Stranger Things. He also he directed a few. He hasn't directed all of Stranger Things, but a few big time episodes. I think a total of 8 episodes. He directed Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, which was a very funny movie and a good one. And a cult classic, as I understand it. I don't know that I ever even saw this movie, and I'm probably going to catch flack for this, but the movie was Big Fat Liar with Paul Giamatti. I know that it has a pretty big cult following, so take that for what it's worth. He was the director of that. The writers on this movie were Sean Levy, Rhett Reese, and Ryan Reynolds. So if you haven't picked up on what it is yet, that probably just did it. It stars Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Matthew McFadden, and the type of movie that it is action, comedy, sci-fi. And this movie is none other than Deadpool and Wolverine. It comes out on July 26th. It is rated R. The studios that are putting this out, Marvel Studios, 21st Century Studios, and 21 Laps. I don't know that much about 21 Laps, I'll just admit that. But Marvel, 21st Century, both big-time studios. Marvel, at least for me, has a little bit at stake here. Ever since ever since Endgame, I think they've kind of been trying to find their footing. And in many cases, I feel like they've kind of fallen. But that doesn't mean by any means that I've given up on Marvel. They're doing, they still do amazing work. For me, WandaVision was incredible. So was Loki. I think they're doing some big things still. And I only want the best for them. I'm a comic book fan, and I love seeing comic books get so much attention and superheroes because they're incredibly important. Their messages aren't any less important in their themes, in their stories, because they're superheroes. And I think we need to get out of that mindset. So I'm extremely excited about this. If you've been following Marvel, this one's going to center a lot around, I believe, the Time Variance Authority, also known as the TVA. It's going to be, it looks as though in the trailer that Ryan Reynolds is going to be, or Deadpool is going to be pairing up with the TVA, which appears, at least one of its agents, maybe the head of it, is Matthew McFadden, best known for, probably most recently best known for the show Succession, which was fantastic. So that's what it looks like his role is going to be in this, but we'll see. Marvel has a way of surprising us a lot in films, and especially when it involves Ryan Reynolds. I think you're probably going to have some faces show up you don't expect. We saw that in Deadpool 2. And I think potentially, fingers crossed, because this has been fan theory for a while here, but I think maybe we're finally about to see how X-Men get pulled into the MCU completely. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I by no means am a specialist on all things Marvel, but I do try to keep track of it as best I can among all the other films I'm taking in. But I'm very excited about this one. I think it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to show you the trailer. And like I said, I can't control what's in or out of the trailer. But I will preface by saying this one is probably the cleanest of the Deadpool trailers. So take that for what it's worth. But very much so looking forward to this movie. It is Deadpool and Wolverine, And here's that trailer coming right at you.
I've always wanted to ride with you, Logan. Deadpool and a Wolverine. Can you imagine the fun? The chaos?
You mind putting your mask back on?
Super hard to eat while I'm wearing it.
It's super hard to eat when you're not.
I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about. Our entire world needs you. Huh. All Rudd finally aged.
Shut up.
Oh my God. Us? A team? The answer is yes. Shake on it. Ah, you nicked it. Just got the tip with your little steak knife.
Rated R.
Again, another one. It looks great. Ryan Reynolds has not disappointed us yet on the story of Deadpool. And his story is much more unique, in my opinion, than a lot of the superheroes, in the sense that Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall is a term used when an actor looks directly at the camera and is addressing the audience face to face directly. That's called breaking that fourth wall. And Deadpool does that. And it makes for, hilarity ensues. So I'm really excited about that one. Again, Deadpool, Wolverine. Honestly, this is one of those movies I don't feel like I really need to talk about that much, just because I'm flat out fairly certain among all of my top 5, this is probably the one that people know the most about. It's heavily marketed. Ryan Reynolds always does a fantastic job, with guerrilla marketing as well. And Hugh Jackman has only increased that. So I know for a fact this is the one people know the most. So I think it's going to be fantastic, though. I'm as excited as you are. If you're a big Deadpool fan, I promise you I'm as excited as you are. So cannot wait to do a deep dive on it. Projection for this, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably going to end up being a 9 or a 10, just because they don't miss, and the other ones have been that good for their genre, and for Marvel, just as a whole. So that's probably that is the number I'm going to go with, and we'll see what happens when it comes out. But if I had to guess right now, it's probably a 9 or a 10. So that is Deadpool and Wolverine, July 26th, and directed by Sean Levy. That moves us to number 2. Number 2. I've had a number of people ask me if I'm interested in this particular movie, in this particular, it's not really a series, but theme. And it centers largely around, if you know me well enough, you know that I have a lot of passions. Film is just one of them, to be honest. I love board games. When I was a kid, I was fascinated by sharks. I was fascinated by dinosaurs. But I was also fascinated, and this fascination has continued into adulthood, by storms, and specifically tornadoes. And that brings up number 2. And you should already know what this one is, too. It's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who has directed Mandalorian. I'm not familiar with, and I think it was an episode of Mandalorian. I'm not really familiar with the other things he's directed. I did just go ahead and crunch some numbers for his IMDb ratings that he's gotten on his other things. And if you add them up and calculate what his average is, it's a 7.1, which is intriguing. So I think that points in a good direction for this particular film. The writers are Mark Smith, Joseph Kosinski, and Michael Crichton. It stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, and Anthony Ramos. And it is an action, adventure, thriller It's being put out by Universal, Warner Brothers, and Amblin. Amblin, best known for being Spielberg's company. So Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy involved in this very much so. They were involved in the first one of these. And this movie that I'm talking about, if you haven't figured it out yet, is Twisters. It's coming out July 19th. It is rated PG-13. The first movie, the answer to that question when people ask me, is this something you're interested in, is 1000% yes. Storms, tornadoes, they have always fascinated me. And if I'm not watching films, I'm probably watching Reed Timmer, chasing some tornadoes, or Ryan Hall following some storms and tornadoes. Big names in that particular field, and doing fantastic jobs at keeping people safe, keeping them alert. And helping further the study of weather and how we can increase that warning time. The first one very much so centered around that, with Bill Paxton, and of course Bill Paxton passed away, so he is not going to show up in this movie. I don't think any of the original cast is going to show up in this. I would be surprised by that, but can't rule it out. I did notice in the trailer, and if you keep your eyes peeled, because I'm going to show you the trailer, I did notice that Daisy Edgar Jones is conveniently dressed like Joe from the original. I mean, identically. So that's a callback for sure, and I think there will be callbacks. But this movie is not about being a sequel. It is not about being a sequel to the first one. It is not a follow-up. It is a standalone. It is its own movie, and kind of a revamp of this particular style of film. And to be honest with you, other than maybe Twister, I don't know of a ton of good tornado movies. I turned Supercell on, and I made it all of about 20 minutes in, and I had to turn it off. It just, for me, it was awful. And I think they just have a history. Night of the Twisters, which is an old, I believe it was a 90s film, made for TV. Not great by any means. I haven't seen Into the Storm. I hear it's pretty, truthful to the actual science behind it. But there's just not a good track record for storm movies. And I very much so want to see that change. And I think that if this does well enough, maybe it will. So I'm intrigued by a lot of things about this movie. Intrigued by a lot of things. So, like I said, this is a new story. And in the first one, it was about increasing that warning time for people to be able to get into their safe spaces. And I think this one may still have a little bit to do with that, but there's a particular piece to this trailer that leads me to believe that the science they're trying to discover, and this really intrigues me to be honest, is how to disrupt a tornado. Obviously my guess is going to be from the inside, and if you can disrupt it, can you kill it off? And that's I've never heard anybody really talk about that, to be honest. Nor do I even know if it's scientifically possible. But maybe this is a case of Hollywood being ahead of the curve, and Hollywood is in charge of the dreaming up ideas, and down the line maybe we actually see it become a reality. I don't know. Some other interesting pieces to this movie that I know about filmed in large part, if not completely, in Oklahoma, which is, number one spot for large tornadoes, destructive tornadoes. It was filmed during tornado season, and I believe it was the director, Lee Isaac Chung, who was talking about he wasn't completely aware of how that would impact the filming, in the way in which it did. They utilize a mix of computerized graphics and actual real footage of tornadoes during tornado season. So I'm very intrigued by this. And on top of that, they also utilize drone footage, which is, I guarantee you, that's going to be wild. I kept track of this last storm season and followed Chasers closely, and I remember when this trailer first came out, I looked at my wife and I said, they've ruined it. It looks like everything's an F5. It's clearly computer graphics. In the trailer, and you'll see it. There's a wind turbine that goes down. And I was, in my head, I'm like, it's just not going to happen. Then I saw this last storm season, and I was proven completely wrong. There are actual live footage shots from this last storm season that I am telling you right now look exactly like what you're going to see in this trailer. And not just that, there was a specific instance, I believe it was in Iowa, it was Reed Timmer who actually got the video of this, of a turbine that got hit and just bent completely over into the ground. So it's absolutely possible. Per anything that we study with science that's dangerous, I don't know that we'll ever have a full grasp of it. About the time we think we do have a firm grasp, something crazy happens. So that's the reason science exists. That's the reason we continue to study. I'm very excited about this movie. I hope that it reignites people's passions about the weather. I think it might. Glenn Powell is definitely doing his best Reed Timmer impersonation, I feel like, at parts in this, at least in this trailer. But I hope that it reignites people's passions about the weather. I feel like the first Twister did a very good job of that, and really drew more people into meteorology. The more we can get, the better. Without further ado, this is the trailer for Twisters that comes out July 19th. Here you go.
Once-in-a-generation tornado outbreak continues across Oklahoma.
We've never seen tornadoes like this before, and we need your help.
No, I don't chase anymore.
Kate, we can save lives.
I'll give you 1 week.
All right, fellas. We got PhDs from NASA, FEMA, and Kate, she's the smartest person I know.
Hey, dudes. This is interesting. Who are they?
It's Tyler Owens. Calls himself a tornado wrangler. If you feel it!
I'm scared of nothing and I'm scared to death.
Our crew is not like your crew.
I can't breathe and I catch my breath.
We don't need PhDs and fancy tech. Sometimes the old ways are better than the new.
Well, you can always trust a guy who puts his face on a t-shirt.
Yes, ma'am.
got quite the reputation, city girl. You think you can disrupt a tornado?
In theory. But in the field, in the moment, I got it wrong. We never had a chance.
You want one?
Are you seeing this?
We got twins! Twins!
They're combining. Go faster.
Let's ride.
It's all right to be scared. Fear's the reason you do it. You don't face your fears, you ride them.
Holy.
You ever see anything like this?
Not like this.
Hold on, hold on, hold on!
Definitely one of the heaviest hitters coming up. In terms of projection for me on this, I want to say it's going to be an 8 or a 9. I can't imagine Amblin putting something out less than an 8. And I think that Glenn Powell is a good choice for his role. I think Daisy Edgar Jones is a great choice. So I can't imagine that this is gonna be lower than an 8. But I mean, I wouldn't be. Let me put it this way: I won't be surprised if I end up giving it maybe a 7. I hope not. I hope this thing is a 10, to be honest with you, because it looks like an action-packed good time. My projection is that it'll be somewhere in an 8 or a 9 range, but we'll see. We'll see. And finally, that brings us to my number 1. And if you've been trying to track this whole time my list, again, going back through so far, it has been number 5, Escape. Number 4 was Fly Me to the Moon. Number 3 was Deadpool and Wolverine. Number 2 was Twisters. If you've been trying to track, you're probably scrambling to think of what my number 1 could be, and that's rightfully so. This movie actually has been flying under the radar. It's another A24 film, and I saw this trailer for the first time when I went and saw Tuesday, and I did a first watch review of that movie. If you haven't seen that review, go back and watch it. I thought it was a fantastic movie and a very important one. But I saw the trailer for this movie that I'm about to discuss while watching that one. And I remember seeing it and looking over at my wife and going, that might end up making a run for Oscar worthy. It is by far my most anticipated movie. This one actually is coming out in August. It's August 2nd. So it's just outside of July. But it is by far my most anticipated movie in the next month or so. And maybe one of my most anticipated movies of the year. The director for this is Greg Quadar. The writers are John Richardson, Brent Boole, and Clint Bentley. It's starring Coleman Domingo, Clarence Macklin, and Sean San Jose. The type is a drama. It's a drama, and it's rated R. But it is a true story, and it is about it is about prisoners that a specific prisoner, for that matter, that is essentially sharing his love of theater with other prisoners and acting, and how that art has the power to transform. And I think that this movie is also going to discuss, finding hope in the unlikeliest of places. I definitely think it's going to make a statement on the incarceration system. I certainly think it's going to make a statement on that. Every one of these topics is not discussed enough, it just looks like this is going to be one of the most moving films I'm going to see this year. The last time I felt like this about a movie, in terms of being moved, possibly The Whale with Brendan Fraser. This movie is called Sing Sing, and it comes out August 2nd. And without further ado, here's the trailer for Sing Sing. I hope you enjoy.
To die, to sleep, to dream.
This is a clemency hearing for your conviction, 25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in a theater program.
Gentlemen, let's go.
It's been a program that was established to help people get more in touch with their feelings and truly get some rehabilitation.
I am Gladiator Goliath. I am Spartacus.
I'm Prince Hamlet of Denmark.
And it's turned into something, wonderful.
What part do you play?
From time to time, I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
We here to become human again and enjoy the things that is not in our reality.
I think you guys are becoming real with each other, vulnerable.
Listen, I already know what you're doing, know who you are, what you about, bro.
What?
You don't get to tell me what I need in prison. You don't get to do that. And don't bring me in those dark corners no more.
The world expects brothers like you and I to walk in with our heads held down. Nah, what you gotta walk in like a king. Everything is yours.
I'm divine now.
Yeah.
This is my theater.
Now give him some love, give him some love.
Go to your most perfect spot. Do you hear anything? Are you with somebody? Are you outside? Hold that feeling.
You gotta admit that I murdered that Hamlet scene, bro. Shakespeare is in his grave right now. He rolled over.
You did your thing, beloved.
Gives me chills every time that I see that trailer. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm telling you right now. If there is any in my top 5 that I feel like I could hit a bullseye on my projection, it's gonna be this one. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I think that this is on track to be a 10. I think it's on track to be a 10. Coleman Domingo in this trailer, I'm blown away, utterly blown away. It's not even the movie, and it's that powerful. And that scene in that trailer are you acting now breaks your heart. So I am anxiously anticipating the release of this movie. I think that it's going to be on another level. I think it's going to be on another level, and has a potential to make an argument to be at the Oscars for sure. I can already tell you that just by looking at this trailer. That is my top 5 most anticipated films that are coming up. That is, essentially from July 3rd through August 2nd. So pretty much a full 30 days or a full month, really. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see them. And I'll come back. I'll give you the first watch review of these movies. Maybe not Escape, if I can't find a way to watch Escape. But certainly the others. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see how close my projections are. I think I'll purposely probably not watch this Real Glimpse segment again before seeing those movies. I don't want to influence myself in any way in what the actual final rating is going to be. My memory's not the best, so it's not like I would remember it anyway. But we'll see how close I end up being on those projections, and we'll have a little bit of fun with it. So I hope you're anxiously anticipating these as much as me. Hopefully, I put a light on a couple of films you may not even have known about, especially Sing Sing. Honestly, I was really excited to do this video strictly because of Sing Sing. I want to shout it from the rooftops that this movie's coming out because I think it's going to be that good. So if you're as excited about that one as me, please share that trailer, get the word out about it, and let's get those theaters packed for that movie because I think it's going to be really important and I think it's going to be really good. But of course, I'm excited about the others as well. I mean, you've got potential big summer blockbuster films in there, Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters, Fly Me to the Moon will probably be, it's going to be good. I just think it's probably going to be a little bit under the radar than Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters. That is your Real Glimpse. If you like this, please comment below. That helps me see the kind of content you're enjoying. Right now, we've got 3 types that are flying around out there. We've got first watch movie reviews. We've got Cineversaries, which I personally love doing because I find out so much more about the films that I love. And then we've also got Real Glimpse now, which I am excited to kick off here. Comment beneath here. It doesn't even have to be about Real Glimpse. But tell me which segment you're really enjoying and why. And maybe some things you'd like to see in those segments. Feel free to do that. So thank you for watching as always. I hope that these are entertaining. I hope that they're informative. I hope above all that you're enjoying them and you're having fun and it's increasing your passion for movies as well, because that's my goal. So thank you for continuing to keep track of these, for giving me your feedback and just letting me know what you think and watching them. So I really appreciate it. Again, happy 4th. I hope you and your family have a wonderful holiday. Take care.